Never appear too perfect. When you portray yourself as perfect, right? If you portray like you're this, you have all these achievements and look at me, right? Like you want all the attention, that would naturally draw envy towards you, right? And people that are naturally drawn, you know, towards you that are envious are you often friends and family. The reason why most people want to be your friends because at first they envied you, right? You see that often. Your friends are your worst enemies. And that's the truth because on the surface level, you think the strangers will treat you worse, but in all reality, strangers actually treat you better than your own family and friends. That's the truth. So that's crazy to me if you think about that, right? It makes no logical sense. You think someone close to you would be, you know, supportive, nurturing, right? But then that's often not the case, right? And usually why they envy you is because you appear too perfect. You're just we make that mistake, right? Instantly, someone asks you, "Oh, what you been up to?" Or no, what you have going on with your life nowadays, right? And you just tell them innocently. You're like, "Oh, I've done this, I did that. It was a good time, right?" And boom, it strikes at them envy. They're like, they can't articulate the words, but they feel something, right? They're like, "Ooh, I don't like that," right? And and what they do exactly is they passive aggressively attack you, right? They won't tell you, wow, Ryan, like you just made me envious, you just made me jealous. I'm gonna hurt you now. They won't do that, of course, right? They will passive aggressively make side comments. So for instance, you tell them, wow, like I created my own business. I did this, I did that. They're like, wow, like how do you get that money from, right? Or how were you able to do that? Like that's great, but I'm sure the money's easy. It's good money, right? They take a shot at you. They don't give you the full credit of your deserving actions or things you've done, your achievements, right? And when you detect that, you have to be careful with those kind of people because they could potentially intertwine, get your roots in you, and manipulate you overall, right? They know if the longer you're friends with them, now they're like, okay, now they feel envious, but now they know your insecurities, now they know your fears, they know your past. It's like, okay, they know where to hurt you at, right? They know who to stick the knife and twist the knife at, and you need to be aware to say less than necessary, to not say so much about yourself because the more you talk, you look weak, you look insecure when you always talking, right? Plus you give them more material of where to attack you, right? So you look more powerful when you're quiet, when you're stoic, when you don't react, when you have that self-control, just right, just being quiet, just doing that, right? Because that's a lot of people are insecure when they're talking, right? People hate silence when you have a conversation with them. So the moment you're silent, the other person feels obligated to talk. So these kinds of things you have to be aware of. But to counter approach this is to not talk about yourself. Make everything about the other person, right? Make it nothing about yourself. Don't talk about your achievements. Don't talk about how great you are, whatever you're doing in your life, right? Because that would naturally draw envy, of course, right? You gotta bounce off the conversation back to them, right? You gotta make them feel superior to them because the more you do that, the more they like you, the more they become addicted to you, the more they're drawn to you, right? The more they want to be around you and talk to you more, right? And you just listen, right? You just listen to them and you listen. That's all you have to do. Listen, shut up, and they will love you, right? Because rarely they get that attention, so appearing too perfect could be extremely dangerous. And to protect yourself, you make it about that person, right? You make them talk about themselves. You never talk about yourself, right? And you have to watch out for exactly the people closest to you, friends, family. Those are the ones that are envious towards you, unfortunately. That's when you have to decode people, right? You have to decode, you have to sense, you have to observe. You need to see why they said that, right? They're passive aggressive comments to you, right? Or I could give you another example. Someone comes in your house and they may feel envy, and they make a comment about, oh, like, I love the house, but what's up with your dishes there, right? They make a big deal about something small in your house, right? And that's a sign of envious. That's a sign of a someone that's looking, who's looking to bring someone down to their level, right? So you just need to be aware. Now, envy, we all feel it. You can't appear too perfect, right? You need to be, yeah, just need a sense of like humility. You need to have social intelligence, understand people, right? Their motivations, what they're trying to get out of you, right? And we like to talk about ourselves because we're naturally self-absorbed creatures, and that's the truth. And I think once you realize, your worst enemies could be the people closest to you, the more you accept that radical perspective, and that's the truth. That's a radical truth. The much better, smoother things will go in your life, 100%. So, just had it in mind today. Thank you for listening.